Now, ladies and gentlemen, a few things have been going on in the government of the Republic of Kenya in regards to uh, tender awarding. And more so, I am speaking about a tender that was recently changed, or a tender that was supposed to be given to the Kenya Pipeline Authority. It was changed and was handed over to a certain Nigerian firm. Now, according to my understanding, this tender is a gas tender. And as we all know, in the country, the current Minister of Energy is none other than OPIYO Wandayi. And one of the greatest stakeholders in the gas industry in our country, and the man that has always been that runs one of the biggest gas supply in our country is none other than Raila And Rutos. Now, allow me to get to read to you this article so that you will understand the point that we are trying to pass across. Now, the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum recently quashed a plan by Kenya Pipeline Company (KPC) to develop a massive cooking gas handling facility in Mombasa and instead added it to a private player. The private firm ASHARAMI Synergy had given the ministry a proposal to develop a similar plant on land owned by Kenyan Petroleum Refineries Limited (KPRL), which is owned by KPC. Now, the plant will be developed through the Public-Private Partnership (PPP) model. KPC, which completed acquisition of KPRL last year, has now been left to bear the cost of the work it had done as it prepared to start construction. The company planned to build a 30,000 metric ton liquefied petroleum gas (LPG) facility on land owned by KPRL, which was viewed as a game changer in lowering the cost of cooking gas in the country. The common user facility would allow industry players to jointly or individually import huge volumes of gas, which they are unable to do due to a lack of adequate storage capacity. In a sudden change of plans, KPRL is now ready to release the land to a ASHARAMI Synergy, which will then develop the 30,000 metric ton LPG facility. ASHARAMI, a subsidiary of Sahara Group Sahara Group of Nigeria, was last year included in the list of firms that handle fuel imported into the country through the government-to-government import deal. Now, the firm alongside Gulf Energy, One Petroleum, and Galana Oil handle payments from local oil marketing companies on behalf of the three international oil firms, Saudi Aramco, Abu Dhabi National Oil, and Emirates National Oil. ASHARAMI, which KPRL said was competitively selected to put up the LPG plant, will construct and operate it on a 31-year lease. Now, the firm will be leasing 23.19 acres of land located at Changamwe, Mombasa. KPRL, in a statement yesterday, said the government had resolved to establish common user bulk LPG storage and handling facilities through private sector led initiative. This is explained. It explained meant private sector players would lease KPRL land to set up the facilities. Consequently, KPRL competitively procured a private sector player to undertake the project in compliance with the relevant legislation and or circulars with respect to the lease of public land. KPRL hereby gives notice of the intention to lease parcels of land to the successful tenderer for the development, construction, and operation maintenance of the facilities. Now, the ASHARAMI deal is a blow to KPC that had made earlier preparations to start building the plant, which it noted was paused to significantly reduce the cost of cooking gas as well as help preserve the environment as more people switch from wood fuel. It had spent 192.64 million Kenyan shillings in undertaking studies including demand survey, environmental and social impact assessment, front-end engineering designs, and the cost estimate for the project. Now, KPC, however, discloses that in the course of 2024, it was directed to abandon the plan by the Minister of Energy and Petroleum together with Treasury, who opted to bring on board ASHARAMI Synergy. The matter came up when the Auditor General audited KPC's annual results for the financial year to June 2024 and queried the value for money of the 192.64 million spent in the studies. The Office of the Auditor General further questioned whether KPC would be refunded the money. Now, as we speak, currently, we all know the biggest supplier and seller of gas in the country is none other than Raila Odinga. As we know, recently Raila Odinga signed an MOU with President William Ruto. Now, this MOU was meant to plant Raila Odinga in the government and make sure that Raila Odinga benefits from the Kenya Kwanza administration. And now, Raila Odinga knows, together with this company, they know that if the fuel gas goes down in the country, they are going to undergo a great loss because, everybody in business works in terms of profit. Everybody wants to have the largest profit. So if KPC was to be given this deal and was to go ahead to set up this storage facility, it would mean that Raila Odinga and the company will now depend on Kenya, or let me say on the Kenya Pipeline Company to store their gas and everything. But now that Raila Odinga planted his cabinet secretaries in Ruto's government, remember, we are being told the first time that these these preparations for the building of the facility by KPC was stopped is when one OPIYO WANDAYI took over as the cabinet secretary of energy and petroleum in the country. And not only that, also it happened that when the cabinet secretary of treasury, John MBADI, who is also an ally of Raila Odinga, took up the docket of treasury, they took the matter into their own hands to order the stopping of the construction of the said facility. Now, the amount of money that was spent, 192 million, will now go to waste because the KPC has to abandon everything and the preparation that they had started to hand over this deal to ASHARAMI Synergy. Now, who is ASHARAMI Synergy and why Nigeria? Allow me to take you to Nigeria. What is the relationship of the President of the Republic of Kenya with Nigeria? President William Ruto, his daughter John Ruto, back in the year 2021, got married to Alexander Ezenagu, a lecturer, or let me say a professor from Nigeria. And from then we have been seeing the involvement of this man in different government deals. So I can clearly state that there is a play of President William Ruto's son-in-law, Alexander Ezenagu, in this tendering process. And also Raila Odinga is the person that brought in this company, ASHARAMI Energy, so that it could take up this tender. And if the ASHARAMI Energy takes up this tender, that means they are partners with Raila Odinga. So Raila Odinga will be benefiting from the both sides. And also the president, through his son-in-law, will be benefiting from this. So when we say that there is nothing that as a republic currently we can do to tame the thuggery in President William Ruto's government, this is what we mean. Remember, we stopped Adani deals. Adani was meant to lease the Jomo Kenyatta Airport for 30 years, for about uh, several billions. I mean, almost trillions of money. And when the expose was done by America that Adani is not fit to be involved with any government, the pressure piled on President William Ruto, who went ahead to cancel Adani's deal in the country. So now the president has to come up with different ways of covering up what he lost through the cancellation of Adani deals in the country. And some of them, as you can see, is this lease of KPC land. Remember, the land is being leased for about, for 31 years. So which means the facility storage that will be built by ASHARAMI Synergy will not belong to the people of the Republic of Kenya. It will belong to the said company. The said company has links with President William Ruto, and it has links with Honorable Raila and Odinga. So these people are going to benefit largely from these deals. And that is why, even as you can see right now, Raila and Odinga was meant to benefit from this government with a lot of deals, including being given the additional cabinet members, but that didn't happen. Yet Raila Amolo Odinga and dysfunction are quiet. Why? Because apart from controlling the cabinet, Raila Amolo Odinga has business interests that he must protect, and some of them includes being a beneficiary of these deals that are coming in through back channels. For now, I really would love to hear your comments in regards to this, because we might regard this lease of land as a non-factor, but truth be told, the amount of money that goes into gas every day in this country is worth billions and billions of shillings. So remember, President William Ruto told us that if he wins the election, gas will be sold at about 500 Kenyan shillings, but that didn't happen. So the plan was to make it happen. But Raila Amolo Odinga came in. Akamwambia, Bwana Ruto, if you do that, you are hurting my business. So let me show you the best way to deal with this. ASHARAMI energy comes in. For now, that's what we have. Tell me your take in regards to this. Let's meet in our next video. Remember to subscribe. This is the Kenyan Daily Report.